Namaste all. This is Omni reporting to you live from Roger Williams Park on a perfect day, living the dream, as it were. Let's see, give you a sun shot. Let's see if we can see the. You know how I love to do the blazing white light, right? Love to play with it. Play with the lights and the shadows as part of my film and media. Anyway, this is Omni reporting to you live from Roger Williams Park on a perfect day. I'm enjoying it. It's peak of summer. This is another episode of my Gofundme campaign. Heroines and Heroes. Excuse me. Heroines and Heroes. Sometimes I think the message is to vibrate whatever the mood is, right? So I kept asking myself, what do I have to give you? What do I have to offer you? What's in it for you to give me your indivisible, appreciative attention, other than me giving you in return my indivisible, appreciative attention? Let's question that. What's my method to finding answers to these questions? Well, first I come up with a question, and I'm told this by my instructor. He says, he or she, I can't remember who it was, but I listened to an audio recording that I made based on all of the greatest teachings that I've heard, and I listened to them while my body's resting and I'm in dreamland. I'm hearing a narrative that I've created based on an amalgamation of things that are interesting to me, things that I want to learn, that I want to memorize, that I want to become one with. And one of them is, one of the instructors says, there's always going to be an exchange of energy. You're giving and receiving simultaneously, and there's always an exchange. So you should expect that in encountering some entity that you will be giving them a vibration and they will be getting a vibration or receiving a vibration, and vice versa. So one, we want to give whatever the scenario we find her in, whatever the context is. We want to, if we're giving our indivisible appreciative attention, which is basically, you could say, your full attention, but with appreciation, recognizing all these elements, negatives, neutrals, and positives. This is the interplay, right where I'm at, right where you're at. It's the interplay throughout the zillion-dimensioned omniversal dream game. It's the echo of the original positive, negative, and neutral forces when combined. So that's what the here and now moment is. It's all those forces. And if you're giving it your appreciative attention, your indivisible appreciative attention, you are able to recognize that you're fortunate enough to be alive, to be able to experience whatever it is you're experiencing, whatever emotions you're going through, whatever thoughts you're having, whatever ideas come to mind. And so I'm driving along and I ask myself, if I'm asking you to give your time, your resources, and your money, not just to me, but to the organization, which I realize I was just calling it my campaign, but actually the organization is Heroines and Heroes, which is designed as a resolution or a solution to the problem that the world is facing today, which is a lack of great heroes, not just your normal, everyday, average heroes, the kind of people you very rarely encounter in your life. You might encounter them in person one time in your life and you remember them forever. That kind of person. They can be, from your point of view, they could be a hero, they could be a villain, or they could be neither. They could be something else completely. But in terms of like good and evil, and a lot of us do believe in it, and neutral characters, of course, that you make a choice. If you're going to join the villains, that's all this stuff, the pandemic and all that stuff is designed by the villains. That's my perception. And so those people who are combating it are risking all that they have. If you are combating the evil forces today as they've become supremely organized, then chances are you're taking up a cross, as it were, because you'll be facing risk and danger probably for the rest of your life, because there's always going to be evil, I guess. Or I don't know, I guess. But anyway, so what do you get out of it? Giving me your time, your resources, your money, and me sharing it with the other heroines and heroes that join up with me. Well, we start with indivisible appreciative attention. So if you're in communication with me, the values that we share is that. Our end goal, obviously, is to feel the happiest emotional sensations, vibrational sensations that we can possibly feel by the end of our journey in this mortal life. By the very end, if you were aligned with me and my values, my ideals, you would, in your last heartbeat, in your last breath, chances are you'd be smiling, and you'd be thinking, even if, you had what some people would consider a bad end, if you were still conscious, you'd be able to appreciate, you'd be in that moment appreciating the life that you had led up to that point. And if you had really done well, the reward obviously would be that, you'd be feeling perfectly healthy and the ultra happiest vibrational sensations that go along with perfect health, whatever you conceive that to be. For me, perfect health is, a point in your life where you don't feel like you're suffering, where, things are the way that you want them to be. You're enjoying the moment, completely. You're getting to do whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you need, whatever it is that you desire. All the essentials, the fundamentals are being taken care of because of your harmonic resonance with the Omniversal Dream Game. So what do you get in return? I'm gonna have to keep asking that question, but this is how I do my solutions. If there's no one else around to ask, and you don't believe in God, you don't believe in goddesses, you don't believe in anything else, if you just believe in yourself, which I'm fine with, it doesn't matter, I have a lot of different beliefs, but I'm one of those people who's like, well, if there's a solution, I can figure it out. Doesn't mean I'm not going to ask for help from other people. I'm not going to ask for help from other people if there's an answer I can't find on my own. But the way that I do it is I conceive of the problem solved, like a lot of people do. It's just part of the program, part of the game, part of the dream. When you're awake, you realize all you have to do is ask the question and then answer it yourself. And then some scenario will play out shortly thereafter that answers the question. Because you're saying, so what is in it? What's in it for my audience? What's in it for me? What's in it for us? What do we have to gain and what do we have to lose? So if you're giving me your full indivisible appreciative attention, what do you lose? You lose the focus on things other than whatever message it is that I'm conveying to you, and vice versa. If I'm giving you my indivisible appreciative attention, that means I'm not thinking about things that are going on in the past or in the future. I'm present with you. You're getting my full attention, and that gives you energy. Anytime anybody gives you attention, negative, neutral, or positive, you still gain energy. What do you have to lose? Well, you have to lose if you're probably in my area, I'm about, as a storyteller, I'm about transforming worldviews. Not just the emotional worldview, like Adam Skelter says. He's one of my greatest instructors. He's online, YouTube, Anatomy of Chaos, The Art of Story, Adam Skelter. He says that as a storyteller, we are dreamers. We're the awakened dreamer, because life is a dream. All stories are dream. We are mediums or mediators with symbolic vibrations. But anyway, he says as a storyteller, we're transforming emotional worldviews, because emotions, especially for humans, a lot revolves around both the mental and the emotional. Emotional, as I understand it, we are vibrations that represent our current emotions. So that's the energy signature that we have at the current here and now moment, is the emotions that we're going through. So if our end game together is to feel the ultra happiest vibrational sensations, everything that fits within that sphere, like I've said before in many other messages, elation, euphoria, bliss, ecstasy, jubilation, celebration, triumph, freedom, liberty, mastery, a bunch of other stuff. But all of that fits within the umbrella of happiness, or within the sphere of happiness. And so you could say, if our views are aligned, if our worldviews are aligned, then you won't be thinking about other people's worldviews. It'll be one that you volunteered for, which will obviously transform your worldview from what it was before. Because you're like, well, now I'm aligned with leading the ultra best possible life and feeling the ultra happiest possible sensations within this lifetime. And if you're aiming at that to your last heartbeat and your last breath, all the actions you take that lead up to attaining this great reward, the greatest of rewards, everything that happens, all the obstacles that come into play are a way, an exchange of energy, an exchange of the negative, neutrals, and positive energies to take you to that, whatever it takes in order to get to that ultra happiest vibrational sensation. That's what I'm aiming at. I'm not asking people who join me that's necessarily what they're aiming at, but if we're on the same wavelength in terms of our goals are together. I want you to be able to smile. Doesn't matter. Like, I've come to this understanding. You could have good teammates, you can have neutral teammates, and you can have evil teammates, and they can all be on your team, and you can find a way to work in harmony. You just got to place the elements properly. You got to orchestrate things so that those people who have animosity to each other in the team, such as the good and the evil, maybe at some point you just put together the right complementary forces, and they work together, whether they like each other, hate each other, love each other, or whatever. So you can get indivisible appreciative attention from anybody, whatever their beliefs. They could be a psychopath, they could be a devil, they could be a demon. But if you're having an exchange of energy, and you're giving whatever it is, the context where you find yourself in, the coordinates, wherever you find yourself, space-time continuum, the zillion dimensions, the planes, and all that other stuff. If you can get that kind of attention from anything, from a flea, you can give a flea your attention, a speck of sand. It doesn't matter what it is. You can actually give a speck of sand. You can put it in your hand and stop thinking about your hand, stop thinking about the weather, stop thinking about all the elements taking place around you, and give that one thing, your indivisible appreciative attention. So you could do that with anything, and then you can expand that to an indivisible appreciative attention to all this, wherever you happen to be. This is where I'm at. For me, this is, like I've said in many previous interviews, if you've tuned in for the first time, this is Rod Ewing's Park, a park that I grew up in. I played in this park and went to so many different celebrations of all different kinds. To me, this whole park is a sacred, special place. And the most sacred and special place, or two of them, is one, the white bird. I used to think of it as sometimes a hawk, sometimes an eagle. Now I think you could just call it the ultra bird, right? What is that? It's a conception of a bird that has never existed up until this moment, because the scenario requires it, as does the music temple require me. It's my duty as a omniversal, zillion dimension omniversal dream game agent or avatar to go there and to impress some vibration out throughout the zillion dimension omniverse. So that's the best way I can describe it at the moment. So my ideas are always evolving, as you know, on a daily basis, as are yours, even if you're not paying attention to that fact. As these celestial bodies move around the planet, and as our body spins throughout this particular galaxy, this particular dimension, you're being affected and you're affecting it. Even the smallest element of the zillion dimension omniversal dream game has an effect on the rest, because it's all coordinated or orchestrated together by design. So you are playing out a part of the design, whether you accept that or not. It's just a fact. You can call that an accurate fact. That's just not my opinion. That's just what it is. So let's talk about the progress. I was given the answer. I said, I was telling you about my process. So then I tell myself, once I have the question in mind, I don't wait to find somebody to tell me the answer. I just tell myself, I know the answer to what's in it for my audience, what's in it for me to exchange our indivisible appreciative attention. I know what's in it for us as a group. I know what's in it for them. What the them is whoever it is that you feel is in opposition to your will, your needs and your desires. That's the them. Even though they're part of the whole, they still have some form of contradictory. There's a clash of ideals. Whatever their ideals and their values are clash with yours, and that's where conflict comes into play. That's where the drama starts. That's where wars come from. Is that clash of ideals and values. Whatever it is that you consider to be your values, what's most important to you, what's the driving, motivating forces to why you do what you do on a daily basis, what's aligned with your beliefs. So how do I answer that? I just tell myself, in the present tense, I have the answer to the question, what's in it for my audience, to give me their time, their attention, their appreciation, to help me with their resources, their money, whatever it is that they have available. In essence, this species continuity, that's what Heroines and Heroes is about. If anybody were to ask you, what's Omni doing? Well, Omni is working on a project based on species continuity called Heroines and Heroes. And he's asking people to give of their time, their resources, their money, their all, in order to help save our species from extinction, because we are facing an extinction level event where our entire species could be wiped out right here on Earth. This might be the only place where there are humans. There are myths and there are legends that we were created and we were placed here. There's a whole bunch of different ideas. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is that since we do know that we are here and that we're facing not just some human-made disasters, but nature itself goes through cycles. Anybody who has studied history and astronomy understands, these forces at play are inevitables. They everything is cyclical, if you want to think of it that way. At least in this particular space-time area. If you go to other dimensions, I'm sure those laws don't work the same way. So I tell myself that as I'm going along until I get that wavelength. So like if you think the answer, you know the answer once, chances are it might take a couple of days before you get that answer. And that answer can come from anywhere as long as you're paying attention in the moment. As long as you're just scanning after you tell yourself that you do know the answer to what the question was that you posed. You just look around and then somebody will come along, maybe you'll be listening to the radio or you'll open a book. Whatever way it manifests, if you're paying attention, the here and now moment will present you with the answer if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, it'll pass by once and then it'll pass by again. And if you don't ask the question and answer the question again, that means it's not all that important to you. So you may find the answer somewhere down the road, and when you are actually paying attention and be like, oh, I remember asking this question and then answering it. And this is the answer that's aligned with the question that I made or proposed. So I said that, and I'm driving along, I'm thinking, I know the answer to the question, what's in it for my audience, to give me their all. Let's just encompass that as an idea, opposed not just your money, your time, and your resources, but your all. If you're joining, and think about it as a team where once you join it, all your resources, it's kind of utopian. I saw a utopian series last night about a book that was written a long, long time ago, Brave New World. And in it, they had created a utopian society where, almost nobody was feeling pain, but that come to find out that a lot of people were in pain. No matter how much drugs they were taking, people were experiencing suffering, even in Utopia. So I guess every design has its flaw, as it were, and that's what creates the movement of the forces. If everything's perfect, then there's not going to be any change. But we're in a state of changeless change, wherein all things are always changing, even if we only perceive nothing, no change. So I would expect, and I've said it aloud to you, the answer will come in, like I said, in any number of ways. Or I'll just be driving along myself, because I've been studying so many different subjects my entire life that it no doubt that the answer is right within me. I probably won't even have to ask anybody. I'll just be walking along or driving or sitting in my room or something like that, and the answer will come, and I'll know. I'll just understand. And then I'll present that answer to you. Why do you give of your time? Why do you give of your resources? Why do you give your money? Right? So it is a sales pitch, and it's a sales pitch that lasts until I'm incapable of communicating through this resource that I have, which is my phone, which connects me, as well as my computer and all this other tech that I have, to the net, as it were, the global mind. And so as long as I'm able to do that, as a film media student, it's perfect, because my intention is to travel the entire world, to go around it, wherever it is that I can go. My assumption is, if you've decided to play the role of a heroine or a hero, you're aligning yourself with all the things that you've attributed to the ideals of the heroines and heroes that you've known. I'm sure all of us have encountered some, and we've encountered villains. We may not have used those terms, hero, villain. Maybe we just thought, that's a bad person, that's a good person, and that's a person I can't tell. The neutral people are like very difficult to read, because you're like, do they mean me harm? Are they a threat? Are they an opportunity? Maybe only they can tell you if they decide to. But the others, it seems, are more obvious, because they are in direct opposition to your will, and you can tell. You're like, this person is trying to block me from getting what I need and what I want, or what I need and want. So that's it. That's my process. It's that simple. Any problem that's presented to me, if I don't already know how to just deal with it, and I'll automatically deal with anything that I have the time and resources to deal with at the moment. That way I get it out of the way and I don't have to be thinking about it. Zero procrastination. If I'm capable of that. Sometimes I procrastinate at some things, whatever that happens to be. Nothing important, trivial matters. That's my process. Every day there's a problem to be solved. Some people don't think that way. They're not even thinking about trying to solve any problems. They're just living their lives, in bliss, and just letting the world do what it does. And they're eating and they're exercising and feeling perfectly healthy. And why shouldn't they? If you can attain perfect health, or a perception that you've attained perfect health, who's to knock that? If they want to knock it, then that means they're probably jealous. So that's it. I'm going back to work. Started the day out earlier, and today is one of those, I drive for a Lyft. I also go to school, both of those full time, 7 days a week. Occasionally I might take a day off, but very rarely. Maybe 4 days because of weather, I can't drive or something like that. School, I do take days off. Unlike a lot of other drones in the system, if I feel that I need time off to just relax, even though there's a schedule, this boxed in schedule of events and things you're supposed to be doing, I'll just, I'll rationalize it to myself why I need the time off, and then I'll take that time off. So I'm human in that sense. Yeah, nothing more to say. That's not the lesson for the day, but the message for the day, that the world, we need your help to help us save our species. How can you not perceive, if you're paying attention to the times and the events that are taking place, that the world is in crisis? Not just where you're at. Even if you're on some island and you're enjoying the time, things are going on that are transpiring in the world that will affect you directly. They're if they're not already affecting you in your present, where you happen to be, whatever coordinates you happen to be, you can bet your life on it. Those events you'll be engulfed in those events at some point during this worldwide crisis, and you probably face the idea that not just you, but everybody you love, everybody you care about, is threatened by some force. Could be other humans, could be extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. It could be any number of things. It could be Father Nature, just trying to come down and destroy us. Whatever way it comes, we need to be ready for that. Not just prepared, but ready to deal with what's presented to us. At a moment's notice, we should always be ready to be active, to go into action, or to be still and silent if the situation requires it. So I need your help. The world needs your help. We need your help. What's in it for you? Starting point, for me as the leader of the organization, you will have when we're together, and we're not facing some problem, maybe separately or in some other places, when we're together and we're meeting in mind, whether it's not through the phone or on the computer or whatever technology we're using, I'll give you my indivisible appreciative attention. That's what you gain. What you lose is the perception of whatever it is that's going on outside of our communication. When you have this linking of minds, linking of hearts, linking of souls, you're on the same wavelength, and so you're putting yourself in a sphere that it's kind of like, you might call it a bubble, right? More on that on another day. Namaste all. A zillion percent. A zillion percent. A zillion percent. And the sunshot, the blinding light at the end of the tunnel. I love to do that. My friends always reminding me about lighting, bad lighting. Yeah, I'm just breaking all of those rules because I have the ability to do so. I'm the director, the choreographer. I'm doing what I'm doing. So